Hello and welcome. Using this simple formula, or framework if you will, base, anchor, focal, accent, fluff, you can create a layered look like this easily and without a lot of cost and money. Best of all, it gives you an opportunity to use some things that you already own and love. So as I'm going through this video, be thinking of that. What do I have that I would love to get out of the closet or the cupboard and showcase? I like to break things down into simple elements that can be modified and built upon. Base, anchor, focal, accent, fluff. You can use this formula in many ways for any occasion. It is November right now, so I'm going to be focusing on kind of fall, winter, holiday season, that sort of thing. All right, the base. For this mantle, I used a piece of burlap that I cut and pulled the edge so that it has a little frayed edge, but this could be so many things. The base is what your, I'll just call it an arrangement, is going to sit on. It's the bottom, it's the floor, it's setting the stage. I'm going to use a theater analogy for this, and the base is the stage. Think about what you might already have. Maybe you want to buy something, but you can use a table runner. You could line up placemats. You could line up napkins. You could even fold a tablecloth. You could use bark if you didn't mind the cleanup. I'm not going to use bark, but you could. I even one year did real grass. You know, I grew some grass seed, which was really, really cool. It looked so great. Do think of what you're going to put on it though, because my grass wouldn't support my wooden bunnies very well. So think about that. But other than that, it can be anything you want really that just kind of provides a base. I do like mine usually to be less patterned, especially for something like this, because there's so much pattern. Your anchor is going to be kind of the frame. It usually has dimension, and it's going to give kind of a body to your arrangement. I'm using in here, you can't even see it in here. You really visually can't see it, but it is just a wooden kind of garland that I bought it at Home Goods. My pumpkins came from Home Goods too. I'm not opposed to not buying anything at all. I just love to reuse things that I already have, and I like to encourage others to do it too, especially if you're over 50, because I know we're all trying to downsize, so it's fun to get creative. But this could be all kinds of things. It could be sticks and bark. These are some sticks that the landscapers were cutting trees, and I ran over and asked if I could have some of the branches, and I cut these sticks and some bark that I gathered. But it could also be baskets. It could even be a line of candlesticks. Just something that's going to give your arrangement kind of a frame. And in the theater analogy, this would be your set, including some of your larger props and your lighting. And on the subject of lighting, I actually do have some hue lights on in the back of this arrangement. You don't have to have this, but a little bit of light in the back of your arrangement can really bring it to life, especially at nights. All right, what else did I want to say about the anchor? You could use ribbon too. If you have kind of a really wide wired ribbon that you can get some waves going in it and add some height and some dimension, that could also be a great anchor. And on that note, some things can be interchangeable. Sometimes your ribbon might be your base, and another time it might be part of your anchor, pine cones, candles. You'll see what I'm talking about as I go along. I just realized I'm using framework to describe two different things. Sorry about that. The base, anchor, focal, accent, fluff, that is a formula or a framework, but also the anchor also kind of provides a three-dimensional framework for the arrangement. So hopefully that wasn't confusing, but look down below in the description section and I will write this all out, so you don't need to take notes or remember it. All right, your focal point. My focal of this mantle are my pumpkins. This is a collection that I have that, like I say, I got it at Home Goods. I did purchase these, but I use them every year and I try to style them differently every year. These beauties are fresh. This is a fresh pumpkin or a mini pumpkin. You don't have to cut them or anything. You just use some spray adhesive, put some spray adhesive on the top of the pumpkin, put some moss on top of the spray adhesive, and then glue little succulents on with a hot glue gun. And the glue doesn't bother the succulents. Aren't they so cute? They'll last for quite a while like this, and then you can replant the succulents. I like to just place my focal pieces kind of evenly along the anchor. And if you're going to use this as a centerpiece down the center of a table or a pony wall or somewhere where you can see both sides, I would alternate the placement of the focal, one on one side, one on the other, and then kind of alternate the texture and color as well. But your focal is where your eye goes first. It's the star of the show. Here is where you can really bring in some of those cool things that you might already own. Maybe you have a collection of something. I was imagining that if I was going to do this near a dining room, maybe there was a china hutch or something and I wanted to do something on the top, and I had a collection of teapots. The teapots could be the focal and the teacups could be the accent, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but use your imagination on this. You could do pictures of the family. That could be a really beautiful focal point. Even pine cones, hurricanes with candles in them. Candles can also be a focal point if they are the bigger, most eye-catching thing in your arrangement. Next are your accent pieces. Your accent pieces are usually a little bit smaller than your focal pieces, but they're along the same theme, or they complement the focal piece in some way, similar to the way supporting actors would support the star. Here I'm using hard squashes for fall, and I love to use beautiful pieces of vegetables or fruits because I'm going to eat them later. It's not a waste. I can buy them. Yes, I bought them, but I use them in my mantle or down a centerpiece. A basket of squashes makes a beautiful centerpiece, by the way. And then, yeah, I can just eat them later. So it's not a waste. It's not something that I have to store, and it's not, some kind of future landfill. There are lots of things that could serve as accents. The teacup example that I used earlier, or votive candles. Pine cones make great accents. Use your imagination again and look around and see what do you have. And finally, fluff. Fluff is going to take up space. It's going to add texture and richness in a layered look like this. And what I've used in this case are dried hydrangeas, which came from my garden, and leaves and berries that I've gathered. And in each of these pieces of the formula, they can be multiple items. Like in this case, I have hydrangeas and leaves. They do have a common theme. They're all gathered materials, so they kind of go together, and they complement the entire arrangement. There are many things that you can use for fluff. You can use dried flowers like I've done here. You could use berries, the little sprays of berries for fluff. You could use feathers for fluff. You could use other greenery for fluff. And again, something that you might use in one arrangement as an accent, you might use as fluff in a different situation. I wanted to show you the centerpiece that I made because it's a very good example of this. And this is a very common kind of structure. I'm sure you've seen it many, many times when it comes to holiday arrangements. You can see this 5-element framework or formula here. Base, anchor, focal, accent, fluff. Now these could be interchanged. I wanted this to be more of a fall theme because I want to bring it to my in-laws now, and then I will refresh it a little bit later to be more of a winter theme. There are countless ways you can use this. Think about what you have. What do you have you could use as a base? What kind of three-dimensional thing do you have that you could use as an anchor? What kind of beautiful collection do you have that you might want to show off as your focal point? What do you have that you could accent that with, and then a little something to fill it in? And you can create something really, really beautiful without a lot of new things or costing a lot of money. There are other formulas that you can use too. If you like a more minimalist look, you could use just 3 elements rather than the 5. But I hope this can get you started and on your way to doing something beautiful for the fall and winter season, and maybe whatever holiday that you like to celebrate. And I hope it's really fun for you, which is what I really want, is to inspire you to get creative and do something fun. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a beautiful day.